Hey folks, I'm Nick. He's Dan. We're the Unpanders. And today, we're going to rob a bank.
So I'm Dan.
And I'm Nick, folks.
We're old friends dissecting one topic at a time. People, technology, media, we've got it all covered.
Each discussion here is a deep dive into our unique perspective. The taboo, forbidden subjects, they're all on the chopping block, baby. We don't pander to popular opinion. We might even get a little bit dirty.
Warning, this podcast may contain mature language and sexual content and is for infotainment purposes only.
So join us. Have a good time.
Open up your ear holes, because we're going to fondle your follicles. All right, then.
Woo!
Let's get into it.
Woo! Woo! Oh boy.
Right off the bat.
Welcome. Welcome one, welcome all.
Join us.
Having a couple drinks tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Making some decisions.
Trying to drink with that neckerchief on your face.
Mm-hmm.
This is difficult. It's a difficult task.
Good word drop. It is a neckerchief.
Mm-hmm.
If I wore a neckerchief into a bank, you know what they'd say? Take that off, please, sir. And I have to make a real big decision there. Am I going to keep it on? Or should I take it off?
A nice slow pause. You can't reach for anything near your waist or in your garments.
Can't. Or if you had any of this right there, huh?
Give me the money.
What's that? Is that a threat? That's illegal. Note. Once you do that, that's illegal.
Yeah. You're threatening them.
Yes, you have. You've officially become threatening. Now, what if I wrote on that piece of paper, "Hey, babe, like me"? That's not a threat, right? This is how I go. I'm not sure what the.
What if it's a question? It's like, would you like to give me money?
Oh, that's a good question.
Huh. Well, does that put the blame on the cashier then? The teller? It's like the teller wanted to give me the money. I didn't ask for it.
Did you find him attractive? A little bit. It was so weird.
Objection! Objection! Would you like to meet him after the trial?
Sign me up for that, gentlemen. So bank robberies and heists and thefts and burgles and larcenies.
Robbery.
We're good. And robbery are all part of our everyday lives, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Especially here on the Unpanders channel. Well, we will teach you how to rob
I don't even think it's going to be a bank or convenience store.
Yeah, I don't think we can say that.
You can rob your own safe. Figure it out.
Crack the code.
Yeah. Write it down on a piece of paper because you're going to forget it.
Do they still do that? The last movie to even use the safe motif was Bad Santa, I feel like, right? Remember, he's the most famous safe cracker. But I feel like that was kind of a lazy narrative, too. Like,
I've seen so many different ways in movies to break a safe that I think it's become very trite. It's a little bit of a trope.
My favorite is still Die Hard, which is the dude hacks it. Merry Christmas! Woo-hoo-hoo!
Oh, yeah.
He's hacking the safe. He's there.
It's like things spinning and unlocking all at the same time.
Yeah. Old school hacking is hilarious in the movies.
I don't know why a safe would have that many visual cues to it.
Well, that's the funniest part about any of these things. So you're telling me that someone made a visual interface for when you're destroying or something? Like a programmer spent time, like, you're going to break my program. I'm going to have this happen, and then this will happen. And then these things will spin, and it'll say, code cracked. Like, I made that? Why would I make that? That's the stupidest thing ever. Anyway, I digress.
Yeah.
It would be badass to make it, though, wouldn't it?
It would be sweet to see your program work.
What if he was programming all that in as he was cracking the code, though?
They'd be there for like years. Hold on a second. I need to finish this detail. This graphic isn't perfect yet.
I I gotta change my if-thens.
We're gonna break down the difference.
I was going to. Now I got nervous because I just realized I forget which one was which. So larceny is the weirdest one. It never happens. In fact, in 2016, I'll get back to the stat. There was a total of like 2 instances of larceny in a bank.
Is that because they can charge them with something harder that conflicts? Maybe
I guess partly, but also I think it's stealing something while people are present. So like you're in the bank and you're like, oh, I dropped my pen. Can you pick it up? And you're reaching over the counter and taking like $400. That's larceny, pal. You put it in your pocket and you roll.
Maybe cops aren't educated enough to tell the difference between theft and larceny because they're very close.
They're very close. That could be theft.
You stole that. You larcened it. Who?
You larcened that, you theft. Hit game theft, where you sneak around and just
larcener, and like who would chase that guy down?
Ringing a bell in the alleyway. It's a larcener. We have a larcener. Oi, governor, I see him. Next up, we have robbery, which is like the most extreme one. I think I skipped the middle one, but we'll go robbery.
Yeah,
robbery
physical force.
You use physical force to get moolah or valuables off someone. Give me that, or I'm gonna, baby. Baby.
Yeah.
Sweet love to your legs. And then what's the middle one? I forgot. Larceny?
Burglary?
Burglary.
Yeah.
Sorry, we skipped burglary, folks. Burglary is where you like break into a building and steal all the good stuff while no one's around. So like a building closes and you're like, popping that lock. And you break in and you steal money from the register. You take all the stereo equipment, you put it on your shoulder, and you roll out.
Or you get there and you find out that there's nothing in the cash register and there's nothing to steal. You can't carry anything out. You still burgled.
Okay, so at my place of business, family business,
you've been burgled?
Yeah, we were burgled twice in a month.
Oh, repeat.
So we have what do they call it? Like a gate that closes.
Like the cage. You close the cage.
Yeah, chain link with a bar that comes over and like locks the two together.
Yeah.
And he cut a hole in it with I don't know,
a welding torch or something.
It looked like something welding tool, but I could be wrong. And once he got in there, he broke the glass for the door. Got in there, and we had security cameras, I think, at the time. And he was very large. He was like 6'5", whoever he was. It was like pitch black, and he was a dark individual. I don't know if he was. I don't know if he was.
He's probably pretty hungry.
It was dark.
Probably looking for some hamburgers.
He came in, and he tried to get stuff from the register, but it didn't open because like all the lights weren't on and like the power was off. So we have video footage of this guy walking down the aisle. He has to know where the register is. It's kind of dark, and he can't open it. So he's doing something with it, and he just picks it up, pulled it, and he left with it. He left with our cash register.
With nothing inside.
Register. Well, we found it the next morning. It was out in the street, and there was nothing inside. And I think he probably did get like $80 or something because they don't usually leave much overnight. So the new thing was we leave just the change in the drawer. So you can only get like the quarters, pennies.
So you can shake it and get really interested.
So whoever it was, the cameras weren't working at the time. I think broke in a second time because we were between figuring out how to fix the old hole and like we just put a new door and everything.
Opportunity.
Broke everything again and came in and just pulled the register off and realized there was nothing in it because we leave it open too. And just threw it on the ground, and it was very disappointing. And then we had to buy a new register because at that point it was totally broke, not just sort of broke. Yeah, it was like all the way broke. And he only made off with like probably less than $1 because he left all the quarters and stuff. And he was really mad. And yeah, it feels bad to have your stuff burgled.
Yeah,
like because you're
feel violated.
There. Yeah, like wait till I'm there. Bring a gun in and demand my money. Then I feel like it's like a face-to-face interaction. Like we know each other. Like he just wants my money, dude. That's cool. It's not like a burgle thing. I'm like that could be to anyone. I'm scared.
You want to point at him in a lineup? Feel like you get redemption in trial?
Yeah. I don't even need to point to him. I just got to know him on the street. You got me. I see you.
I'm watching where you live. Seeing what you drive.
Seeing what you're driving. So there is a difference between all of them.
So they didn't catch any of those guys, even though you got one on camera and dimly lit.
Oh, dude, it's
no
so
chance.
bad. It's so dimly lit. This is the thing. The police came in, and my mom goes, "Do you think they'll fingerprint it and then ID everyone in the area?" And I'm like, I don't think so. And then when he came in, I was like, wait. And I was like, do they dust for fingerprints? They looked at the footage. I was like, we have the footage. It's in the back. Like I was like saying it to be like cool. Like, hey, cop. Hey, we got some footage. It's over here. He's like, we don't need it. I was like, okay. And then my mom was like looking. He's like, did he fingerprint yet? I'm like, I don't think he's gonna fingerprint, Mom. I don't think he's gonna fingerprint. And he was like, you anything? And I was like, he could have been 6'4" And he was like, mm-hmm. And I was like, could have been African American. He was like, mm-hmm. And I was like, and he got away with $80. He was like, mm-hmm. And he just wrote all this down. And he's like, we'll keep our eyes peeled. Be safe. And he left. And I was like,
oh my!
That was our police
That's
report?
nothing.
I was like, oh,
that's nothing.
I was like, we're CSI. Where are we gonna do a blood test? We can do a thing where we can see his
there's DNA. There's DNA everywhere.
He's somewhere. He coughed. He coughed in the footage. He coughed. I heard him. But anyway, they don't do any of that CSI shit. For like a simple $80 register break-in.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Yeah, so
it's gonna meet a certain threshold.
Successful burglary. Shout out whoever burgled. I don't know if you're watching the podcast. We could use the money.
Give back his $80.
Here it is, sir, with interest. $89. Wow.
Oh, that's so nice of him.
I think one of the earlier guys who worked at our store got held at gunpoint, and I forgot how the story went. Crap. Because it used to be. We don't anymore, but we used to just like pick up cash at places. Hey, you got your $800?
Like people would pay you in cash, like a large sum of money, and he'd be driving around.
They don't anymore. Follow me around. You get like $5. But it used to be, yeah, like if someone owed like for like 3 weeks or 4 weeks, that the boss will come out and like pay you cash. You count it all and you put it in the thing and you bring it back.
Huh. I feel like the old-timey bank robberies, there's actual money in there. Like people...
Oh, hell yeah, dude. People were moving money. Nowadays, is there even paper money anywhere?
No. I found that most ATMs... I know this because it's like the CVS is around me. For some reason, people...
Is it 3,000?
It can be... It's usually below 10,000, but it can have up to 200K. But I doubt it has 200K.
I thought it was... They limit each individual to 3,000. And they held under 10K.
It would make sense that they don't keep as much money in the ATM because I started reading about how they'll have money in the ATM, which is responsible by the bank to refill. So the bank has a little bit more money than that. And then the bank has these like kind of like safe houses. These they call them like chest banks or cash hoards.
Are they in the bank somewhere?
Sometimes they're in the bank. Sometimes they're like at a faraway location. But nearby, okay. So it's like undisclosed and it's like heavily guarded. So like people aren't scared to go to the bank because they don't know that it's like it's heavily guarded, or that they don't even have guards there because the cash is really like down the street somewhere. But the CVS's in my area, it's like rampant. Like people will drive a car through the front because the ATMs are right on
the ATM.
Mm-hmm. They'll just try to yank it out. Like they'll like tie it on a tow hook or something and just yank it out of there and just ride away with it.
So Breaking Bad, you saw that, right?
Did they do the same thing in Breaking Bad? I don't recall this.
The old couple or the couple that kidnaps Jesse Pinkman. They have an ATM in their house, and they've been trying to break into it for like weeks and weeks and weeks. And I feel like they have a kid they disregard. It's so long since I've seen that. And they can't break into it. They're crowbarring it. It's in their house. I mean, they're not worried about getting caught, but because it's like on their property.
Yeah, it's just sitting there.
Figure out how to open it. And I think somehow either Jesse is complicit in or helps happen. The ATM falls on one of the people holding him hostage and crushes his head. And he's like, it's like a disturbing scene where I feel like head guts fly everywhere. And he's looking, and the machine opens.
And then all the money, he wants to grab the money, doesn't he? Yeah, I think
he does. I don't remember. It's so weird how I don't remember it, but I do remember that scene.
So I guess the question is, knowing, like, you don't know how much money is really in an ATM. It's probably about $1,000. I would assume it's like around $1,000. Is that worth? If it's 3,000, is it worth doing that to try to steal $3,000? It could screw up your car for one. You could get caught, two, and you'd be ruined
in your head. Do you think anyone stealing it thinks there are $3,000 in there? I think
they probably
think there's at least 10.
Yeah, they probably think there's 10.
So if there was 10, is it worth it then?
But it's a serial thing too. It's in like 3 CVS's in the same area. So I think it's the same person. Maybe they know the first time around that there's actual maybe 10 grand in there, and they think 15 minutes of work to pull this ATM out.
Right. Isn't your license plate?
You would think that you could record all this stuff and figure it out. Maybe they just take their license plate off. I don't know.
I'm going to do a crazy crime. Yeah, either take my license plate off or cover it.
Or use somebody else's car.
Because that raises a whole other slew of questions. That would be cool, but it's probably way harder to do.
I don't know. Down here, you get people who don't even have cars. They steal someone else's car, take the plates off, do the same thing, and then it's like an extra layer of confusion for the police to figure out.
Right, I guess so. But
I'm gonna check for DNA and dust for prints. No, those CVS doors, they were just like plywood for like 2 months. Like they didn't even try to put the cement barriers or
stupid cement. Yeah. Outside. A lot of them do. Not all of them, I guess.
I guess it takes a few times before they actually put those in.
All right, so ATMs. You asked me before, what would you do if one was spitting out money when you walked up to it?
Yeah. Well, if you know you're on camera, you probably go like, "Oh, here's your money bag."
You didn't do shit. You just walked into the vestibule. It's nighttime, right?
Yeah.
No one else is around, and even more better. It's before you even put your card or your PIN in. You just walk into it.
There's just a wad of cash right down the bottom.
Yeah.
That's a tough call because I don't think anybody can prove that you took a wad of cash. Like if you take out
you're on tape. That vestibule is definitely taped.
Yeah, but if it's already there, just sitting there,
right? Then you didn't do anything, right?
Are they really going to blame you for taking the cash that is sitting?
Oh,
it's technically a public space, right? At that point,
technically it's the bank space if it's still in the vestibule.
If it was a drive-up ATM and it was there, that's public space? Is that free money?
That's their driveway. They gotta get the snow out of that bad boy. City don't do it.
What about like cash on the side of the road? You find like $100,000 on the side of the road. Do you pick it up and try to keep it?
Here's the crazy part. We discussed this on one of the real early podcasts. And then you asked me, I said yes. And you said, what if there's blood on it? And I said, still yes. So I'm hiding from everyone. Yeah. Well, my question becomes, what if you took like $3,000 from it? Then it's like, I didn't take it all. I don't know if that's
make you feel a little bit better.
Yeah. Like, I just grabbed some. I don't know. What did I do? Oops, I missed it.
There's $99,000 in here. It's like the cop's like, that's an odd number.
Oh, I gotta get to that later.
And the cop goes back, tells his buddy, he's like, "There's only $95,000 in here. Isn't that weird?"
And the next cop tells the chief, "There's only $84,000 we found." Isn't that nuts? Yeah, that is.
I don't know. Even
and the
like
chief says we couldn't find any money at the scene of the crime.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, chief. Oh, it's all crooked. Don't worry about it. I feel like if you had that much money, I would be compelled to only spend it in like very small increments all over town, and I would probably never spend all of it. Like I'd be spending like pocket change, $10 here, $10 there.
Can you pay for like a kid's tuition or like college tuition with cash? You're allowed to.
You would feel that though. Like you start paying with you start counting those bills. I feel like I'd get nervous and start sweating and be like, "This is weird." But why is it all ones?
They have to accept it, don't they? They have to accept it, don't they? Or no?
They do. I feel like I've never seen anybody pay with cash. So that would I feel like I'd be standing out. Right?
Oh, you definitely would, but you're not paying in a line of people with checks or credit cards. Everyone's waiting in line, like tapping their shoulder.
Yeah.
Come on, hurry up, sir.
You gonna move along?
Use your government issued debit card. Yeah, today is a beer.
Huh. A stag.
I feel like most of them. Most of my shirts have deer on them. I almost said deers, but I didn't.
Good. Show you're educated.
Or something. No, I'm uneducated. I thought I was saying the singular. Now.
So let's move on to the banks. If you're going to rob the banks. It seems like there's a method.
Would you take the money on the floor, by the way, in the ATM vestibule?
I think I would. I'd hold it for a night and decide if I wanted to turn it in. Because I think you're supposed to turn it in over a certain value. And then if no one claims it, you actually get it legally and they give it back to you. But then I think everyone knows that you have it. So that might be scary as well.
Who's everyone?
Everyone who wants that money. If there's a gangster or drug dealer or something, they're going to come to your house.
No. I'm talking about in the ATM vestibule.
The ATM vestibule?
Malfunction of the machine.
And then they're going to give it back to the bank. You're never going to get it. But I would still take it and hold it and then be like,
hold
next
it
day.
For the bank. Exactly. Yeah, hold it for the bank. Hold the money for the bank. Interesting. Okay. That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
I'm not spending it or anything, but I am definitely holding it so that if anything's wrong and the bank needs me, they can contact me. I hope my phone still works. That's all I'm saying.
I will say that in the scheme of things, that amount of money doesn't mean anything. It's a very minute amount of money. Like I would buy maybe a computer with it if I were to spend it, and that doesn't really lifelong thing. It doesn't matter.
What's interesting is we did a podcast about winning the lottery. Any lump sum amount of money doesn't seem to help people as much as, say, a steady income.
True.
The difference between rich and wealth.
Yeah. You'll see, a lot of these people that they take a large wad of cash and it's in the hundreds of thousands. They're like, it's a burden to carry that with them. And then they end up abandoning everyone that was ever related to them, or they die. It's awful.
Yeah, they screw up real bad.
Yeah. So it's a curse. Well, it's a curse, we found.
Armed robberies in the United States of America. Do you know how many of them are done with disguises?
Neckerchiefs?
Percentage.
Masks?
Yeah, neckerchiefs. Disguises in general. Oh, hell yeah.
Oh, I would say it's got to be high. You got to be smart, I think, you got to be dumb not to do it.
Right.
Probably 80%?
No, it's lower than I thought, but it's over 50. It's 60%.
Okay.
Of armed robberies. Or
even if you just take your shirt and just put your shirt up, you don't know who I am now. I'm very sneaky. You have very descriptive eyes, sir. I could point those out of any lineup. You cried a little bit, so I got your DNA too.
A little bit of cry DNA.
Yeah, it was a traumatic experience for both of us.
The U.S. Department of Justice. Want to get into some
BJs.gov?
BJs.gov.
Bureau of Justice Statistics?
Yes. Bureau of Justice.
BJs.
Bureau of Justice Statistics. BJs.gov. So there weren't a lot of bank robberies in 2016. I did 2016. It was the most recent one they had.
What was the number?
4,251.
4,000. So there's 10 a day, at least.
No, because I thought there were 3,500 branches and banks and everything around the United States.
So you said there's 4,000 robberies.
250. Over a year.
Over a year. But that's still, there's 10 a day happening somewhere in the United States. Is that, am I hearing that wrong? 4,200 and something?
Yeah.
365 days? That's more than 10 a day.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was breaking it down by bank. Yeah, by day. Whew.
Yeah.
I'm thinking to myself, no.
Anywhere in the United States.
Right.
Okay.
So over 10 a day.
Which is, I find that surprising. So you don't really hear.
Number, actually. Because I think of Oklahoma. How many banks are in Oklahoma?
I mean, there's a lot of banks.
300. So there's got to be over 400 banks in Oklahoma alone. And I could care less if 2 of them got robbed. I'd be like, yeah, that's probably true. And New York City? How many banks are in New York City? At least 10. I actually broke it down by state. Do you know the most bank robbed state?
There's almost 7,000 banks. FDIC insured commercial banks.
Which is weird. Then hold on. So 4,200 get robbed in a year.
It's like half of them. If you were to not repeat.
No. Right. Even though we know it's the opposite.
Yeah, the counter stat is.
Banks.
Yeah. If a bank gets robbed once, it's going to get robbed again faster than the other banks that are not robbed. There's repeats.
Probably robbed for a reason. We'll get into some of the reasons you would rob a bank, specific bank, later. But 4,250 banks were in violation of a robbery because it larceny counts, burglary, everything. We came up with California came in number 1 with over 500 of them. Yeah, I was kind of surprised. California, number 1. But it's a large landmass. West Coast. There's more crazy stuff going on. There's a lot of wildness going on in California sometimes.
The birth of the Wild West.
Maybe it still carries on a little bit in the breeze.
All those miscreants that found their way to California.
All the flaming breeze.
Poor Wildfire.
Yes.
Has to deal with all those bank robberies.
So number 2 was New York. Sheer population will do that.
Yeah, I understand.
Number 3 was Massachusetts. I mean, if I was in Boston, I would rob a bank.
There's Texas on that list.
Number 4, Texas.
Oh, yeah, we got it. Good job, guys.
Around 300 and some in 2016. I didn't get the exact number. I didn't write them down. And PA came in 5th.
Oh,
right
nice.
Texas,
good representation. I like it.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
We had like 270 or so. So this all seemed weird to me because I want to say in the past 3 years, I don't know if this is accurate, the Citizens Bank that I go to in Germantown area was robbed. I don't know if it was gunpoint. I don't know if they made off with money. I don't know if it was a threat. You know what I mean? Because they break it down as any kind of threat, any kind of police are called, security, whatever. Also, the other Citizens, not Citizens, I think it was a Commerce Bank or whatever the hell it is. PNC about 2 weeks ago in our neighborhood, I went to and it was closed. And they had it like quarantined off in the middle of the day. It was like 1 PM. So I went the next day and I said, everything okay? Everything good? You guys have your air conditioner go down? They said, oh no, we're not allowed to talk about it. And I said, was it bad? And they were like, and I was like, is everybody okay? And she was like, everyone's good. It was, the police came, everything was fine. We're not supposed to talk about it. It got resolved. There was no problem. And that's all I can say. And I was like,
have a nice day.
So my mom went later that day, and I was like, Mom, this is the information. You got to go in and get more information. And she came back, and she was like, listen, someone had a gun. No shots were fired, and the police showed up and barricaded the whole area. And there were no real hostages, but he didn't want to come out. And then they eventually got him. And I was like,
yes. Good job.
I love a good story. So anyway, if you are robbed, they actually close your bank for the day.
Oh, it's like a vacation day.
That's pretty cool. And they give you pay for the whole day.
They better.
I think they even will do like counseling if there was a gun involved, which is.
I wouldn't want to do that, but I'd take the day off.
I'd take the day off. Counseling might be cool. You might meet some cool people. You get the day off again.
Make some friends.
Kick your feet up. Hey, you kick your feet up. You're like, yeah, they had a gun. It was terrible. Oh, you seem to be really traumatic. And you're like, do you guys got coffee and snacks?
I'm kind of hungry.
Taking this too seriously.
That standoff took a while. My stomach's grumbling a little bit.
I'm hungry as hell, babe. Anyway, let me go through my stats just because I'm just.
I have a bank robbery example though.
Oh, do you? Go ahead.
Yeah, there was one bank robbed. Where I live, it's a subset of the city, a subset of Houston. That is not part of Houston, but it was like right on the border. So when that happens, it was like near like 3 major cities in Texas.
So everybody heard.
Yeah, so it's like we got a bank robbery near whatever's happening. There are hundreds of cop cars. It's just like they go all out, man. It's like we're not gonna stand for this shit. Stand to force, like show of force. Yeah, they don't do that up there.
No, they didn't even dust for fingerprints when it was over. It was crazy. They were like, "We're busy."
Yeah, so they caught the guy that did it near me. I don't know what your plan is if you spend longer than like 2 minutes in a bank, but you got problems if you don't get out.
So 4,250 robberies, right, in 2016 in the United States.
4 4,250 for those of us who like to use English.
Do you know how many an alarm was triggered?
I'd probably say about 80%. I like 80%.
4,107.
Most of them. Like 90.
So all but like 80 in a 4,000 number. So what's that?
Wow.
Like 99-ish?
That's probably 41 what?
4251 by 4108. Maybe I did that backwards. 4108.
Yeah, that's like 96%. 97%.
Ooh, 96% of the time, an alarm was sounded at some point by either silent alarm, trigger, something, surveillance.
Yeah, I guess they have a little button on the bottom, right?
Oh my God, wait, this one's even better. I forgot I wrote this down. So higher than the alarm rate is the camera rate. Apparently every bank has so many cameras. 4250 events, 4210 were on camera.
Wow.
So there were 40 that were off camera. Now that could be the backwoods in Oklahoma. Do you know what I mean?
Power outage, some kind of manipulation, maybe.
Yeah.
Inside job.
I didn't even think of that. There could be 40. All right. 40 were done without a camera.
But that's still, I mean,
that's a large...
the age of cameras is definitely telling criminals that they probably shouldn't do this. What
day of the week did most 913, in fact, of the robberies occur?
I'm going to say Friday.
Hell yeah, baby. We get our Friday on. Yeah. We're going to rob a bank. It's like everyone's like Thursday, one more day of the week. Everyone's like Friday, rob a bank.
It's time to enjoy the weekend. Get your money.
It's the freaking weekend, baby. We got to spend.
Yeah. And I only said Friday because there was one guy that his MO was to steal from a bank on Fridays only when it was late in the day because they're open that extra hour. I guess he figures there's inept people. I
have a number, the most popular time to rob a bank.
On Fridays?
Well, the most popular time in general.
Mm-hmm. It's probably like
9 a.m. to 11 a.m.
First?
That's the time to do it.
Early morning.
No, not the first. Because you know what the least popular time to rob a bank was? 6 to 9 a.m. So let me tell you, the least time to rob a bank.
It's hard to get out of bed.
9 a.m. But the most popular time to rob a bank is 9 to 11 a.m. So there's like this window where the robbers are like, it's too early to go in. Let's just give them an hour or two.
Just make sure they get all the money there. They're pooling the money.
But we want to do it before noon. So we got to get in there.
Yeah, get in there, get out, and let's enjoy the weekend.
Least popular day, Sunday. 51 robberies happened on Sunday.
Are banks even open on Sunday?
Maybe that's why. But I thought it was more for church. I robbed this bank, but I got to go to church.
Yeah, sure.
So, weapons were threatened in 2360. That's over 50%, but not by much.
Yeah, slightly above.
Mm-hmm. Okay, weapons were threatened. A weapon or firearm was actually used or discharged in 590 instances. So what's that, about 10?
A quarter of that? They don't even have... Wow.
We don't know.
I guess
Whatever. Right. But how many people died in bank robberies last year? Or 2016, excuse me.
I'm going to say it's probably under 100, right around 70.
It's way under that.
Really?
It's in 1 to 2% of instances. 8 total deaths.
So that's even smaller. That's like a fraction of a percent.
No, in 4,008. Oh, yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
Well, that happens to be last year. I'm sorry. I read a stat that said 1% of all bank robberies
ended in a fatality.
Right. Didn't know that. I thought it was much higher as well.
If you were in the bank at the time that someone was robbing it and they did have a weapon, would you just lay on the floor or not? Would you be a dead fish? Would you just lay there?
There's something I do in my life that I think I would probably end up doing.
Or you die.
It's called pushing the envelope. No, I wouldn't.
You talk to the guy?
I'm going to be a hero.
No.
So he goes, get on the ground. I would do this. And then I'd slowly get on the ground. He'd probably turn his gun and I'd be like, oh, sorry.
Just jerk off motion.
And then I'd do this. And as soon as he turned around to the other people in the building, I'd be like, I guarantee one person would laugh. I'd be like,
what?
And he'd be like,
what are you doing?
Give me your wallet. And I'd be like, I don't have a wallet. He'd be like, so you don't have a wallet? I'd be like, what do you do for a living? I'd be like, I'm a delivery driver. And they'd be like, so you drive without a license? And I'd be like, yeah. he's like, "We got a smart ass over here." And I'd be like,
"You're my hostage."
Bank. Yeah, you got to rob the bank.
You got 30 seconds left.
You got 30 seconds. You better do it.
You should have told him I'm a professional bank robber. And then
I'm a pro. You want me on your team. From then on, I would comply entirely in fear of my life. But I would ultimately try and just not jab him, but like,
That's one thing I've never seen in a movie where two groups of robbers try to steal from the same bank at the same time.
Hey, we were here first. Yeah. Hey, what are you doing? Hey. No, we were here. You gotta. No, it's our money.
They flip a coin for it.
Yeah, we'll help you steal it, but we want 51%. We want 51%. That would be a cool scene.
Yeah, I think so.
It's almost like bank robberies and super big heists and stuff were made for movies.
Definitely. The tension. There's so much going on. There's a definitive goal, and it's physical too.
Yeah, there is.
You get to grab that money. You get to throw it in the air. You're just dancing and swimming in it. There's nothing as visual as that.
Could you name a bank heist movie, though? Or a heist movie, as we call it?
Like Oceans? Oceans, any number of them?
All the Oceans.
Yeah.
Even the all-female one? Did that count?
That one was too recent for me to see. I'm going to use that reason for why I didn't see it. But I heard it was okay.
It was fine. I was just being a jerk. It was very good. Even though I saw it in like 480p, it's the worst. When you're used to like seeing things in HD and you look at it like on a download
VHS.
stream and you're like, what is this? But I was going to go over just if you type in list of heist movies, top heist movies, best heist movies, you'll get a list. You'll get a million friggin' lists.
Yeah, there's a ton of them. There's so many of them.
Right. Is your eye okay?
It is itchy. Help? Keep going. Way to bring attention to it.
Well, I just wanted to be a jerk. So I wrote down some of my favorites, and I was like, my mind was spinning. I was like, these movies are the best. Actually, here, point of reference. Is Die Hard a heist movie? Kind of is.
Yeah, it is. Yep.
Maybe that's why we all love Die Hard. It's an action movie. It's a heist movie. It's a comedy. It's a dramedy. And it's got a little bit of like documentary. I think that's what Bruce Willis did when he was like 28, I think. Someone said it really happened to him.
I love that.
Nagasaki Plaza. Yeah. It's a real place. And he really... Anyway, I don't know. Someone look into it. It might be in the corrections next episode. But I started Googling heist movie, heist thing, movies about robberies. Bottle Rocket, 1996. Hell yeah. I forgot it was a heist movie because it's a goddamn comedy, right?
Yeah, I guess in the end they do a terrible heist and gets them all busted. What were they trying to steal? Were they trying to steal?
I don't even remember. The movie was was the worst.
So comedic,
movie, but it was good. Yeah. Is that the only movie Owen and Luke are in together? The Wilson brothers?
That's a good question.
It might be. You can look it up while I keep going. So before that, we have Heat. De Niro and Pacino. It was actually a decent movie. I mean, it's like way over the top. The Bank Job came in there, 2008. Point Break, 1991. Who the hell doesn't love Point Break? And it's kind of a heist movie.
Yeah.
I mean, it is and it isn't, but it is. Tower Heist starring Eddie Murphy and Ben Stiller. Best movie I've ever seen. Any cinephile will agree it's an Emmy winner.
Terrible. Good thing I've never seen it.
But whatever. It was bad.
I've got the Owen and Luke Wilson ones.
Okay.
There's 4 of them.
How about Oh, can you give them to me? Oh, wait, I know them, so hold on.
Bottle Rocket's one of them.
Okay, give me a hint on
the
next one.
You will know the next one. It was kind of funky. It has to do with a family. They play tennis in it, and I think there's a scene.
The Tenenbaums.
Yep, Royal Tenenbaums.
I forgot they're both in that. It's cool.
Yep. And then there's 2 other ones that you will never know. Apparently, Around the World in 80 Days. No. And the Wendell Baker Story. Apparently, Wendell Baker was not that famous.
Nor his story. I was going on with some more movies, but how about The Usual Suspects? They consider it a heist movie on this list? I don't, but it kind of is. It's badass. Like, they were stealing. Remember, they worked together to steal. I forget what the hell it was from Kobayashi. We were going to steal from Kobayashi.
That's such
and
a good.
One guy was like a sniper. One guy was a taxi guy. They snuck the guy in the taxi. I forgot about that. Reservoir Dogs, 92. How about this one? Even more recent, very recent. Inception. Literally, it's a movie about stealing shit.
People keep stealing stuff all the time.
All the Oceans. My favorite movie of all time. Snatch. You ever see that? Brad Pitt? It's literally my favorite movie.
Of course I have, but I don't remember what he was stealing.
They steal the gem, the diamond from Antwerp.
It's weird. The good movies, you don't remember what they were trying to steal.
I know. Well, because that's not what the movie's about. Yeah. But it is. Jason Statham, Brad Pitt. Anyway, that's my favorite movie of all time.
So you mentioned all the Oceans movies where you're actually stealing from
all of them.
From a casino. That actually happened with this Circus Hotel in 1993. Yeah, somebody's actually able to steal like $2.5 million. He knew a window where he could shovel money into a van and take off, as he stole an armored truck. The interesting part of the story is that he took off, and then later on he found a woman to spend time with, and the woman was in on it with him. Like, she knew he had stolen money, and then he ditched her, and he left her in a sleeping bag with like $1,000.
Hell yeah, he paid her though. I mean, he didn't leave her empty-handed.
And they never
a cab ride home with that.
Yeah, or arrested. 3 meals a day in a penitentiary.
Oh, prison episode dropped.
So they caught her, but never him.
You never caught him?
Never caught him. He's
shut out my man.
Toting around a U-Haul of $2 million cash somewhere.
He wasn't in a Dunbar armed robbery, was he?
No, this is Loomis. Armored truck.
Okay. Interesting. Do you want to get into famous ones?
Yeah, let's do old-timey ones.
Real quick, I want to finish up movies by saying heist movies is probably the best category.
Yeah,
because it can encompass comedy. I don't think horror or heist movies, but comedy, drama, dramedy. There's romance. I feel like there's
teamsmanship,
for action, definitely action. I feel like a lot of 80s, 90s movies we love.
Like a Swordfish. There's like unique. There's an obvious beginning and an obvious goal, and then it's like, how do you get there? Is free form, and it's understandable. Like Swordfish, they take the bus and then they use a helicopter to lift it and try to like land it somewhere. But I don't think it worked out for them very well. But
no, it didn't. But I think there's I guess do heist movies all start from Robin Hood? You never feel bad for the people being heisted, do you, ever, in any of these movies?
A lot of the people that I looked back on, like the historical figures, they always kind of refer to them as a Robin Hood, even though they never gave to the poor.
Yeah, right. Wait, it's never right. Robin Hood is a two-part system. I rob from the rich, I give to the poor.
Mm-hmm.
But when we look back and call anyone Robin Hood, really just has to fulfill the first part. I just steal from the rich.
Yeah,
I didn't give back.
I was getting to the Robin Hood part.
Yeah, I was getting there.
Yeah, I promised a lot.
You know about D.B. Cooper? Did you come across him?
Oh, yeah, I did. He hijacked a plane, and then somehow he was able to get money because he hijacked the plane. I guess did he land?
2.5 million? Is that weird that I didn't look him up and I came up with that number? It's not a huge number, but it's a huge.
I had this tab saved and I deleted it because it wasn't a real bank robbery, but it is a heist, I guess, because you are stealing a plane.
Right, and large amounts of money, sort of.
The curious thing about it was that he was able to get the money and jump out $200,000 in ransom, which is equivalent to 1.2 million today. He was able to jump out somewhere in the Northwest, and they never found him.
Yeah, that's nuts.
Yeah, he had a parachute ready. So
my guess is he died, but I don't know.
I mean, I don't know that you'd ever know. It's like, I didn't know there were 4,000 bank robberies in the United States every year. Have I ever been involved in one? I would assume that there's almost none because I never saw one. D.B. Cooper, did he escape? Maybe. No one ever found his body. You'd think they would have found his body.
And the money.
Yeah. Someone cares about that 200 grand. In, what was this? 1979? 1971.
Good eye. Oh, I thought you did that by heart. I was like, that's incredible.
I read 1971, and then for some reason that was...
71? It was that long ago?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I had a teacher. I did a night class. It was 3 hours straight every... Was it every week? Yeah, because it's 3 credits, right? Yeah.
Sure.
Me and my friend Dan, not this Dan, not Dill Dan.
The other Dan.
Together. Yeah, the third Dan. I have 3 Dans in my life. God bless me. One time we drank before class or during break. I never do this. I never drink during class. Like, I always just go to class. I do good. We had a 20-minute break. We're near Grotto's. And we sprinted to Grotto's, did 2 shots and 2 beers, and came running back to class. And I remember the teacher started talking about D.B. Cooper, and it was the weirdest thing. He was going off, and I was like, this guy's obsessed. It was a history class. And I was like, holy shit. And I remember turning to Dan and being like, it's D.B. Cooper. I just remember
he is
D.B.
Cooper.
Age and everything. Like, something about him. And he was like,
sketch.
He never got away. He got away. And I was like, it's you. I felt like it was a Usual Suspects moment, but I think I was drinking. And I couldn't stop laughing. But so to this day, I pronounce his name and mix it with D.B. Cooper. And I will sometimes text my friend Dan and be like, hey, it's so-and-so Ooper. You know, it's a joke. Good joke. It's a good joke.
I like the part where you sprint back and forth between the bar and class.
It was easy to sprint there, but when you have all that liquid bouncing in your belly, it's terrible.
It's
I've never realized I had to sit for another hour to listen to him lecture.
You gotta pee.
It's terrible. I had to pee. I was uncomfortable. I was just drunk enough where like it wore off after like 10 minutes, and I was like, ugh.
See, you have respect for staying in class. I had one class I didn't like at all, and I was hungry. Yeah, well, no, I went for the first 5 minutes, and then I'd go downstairs, get something to eat, take a piss, take a dump, come back. Last 5 minutes of class. I think I got a C in that class. Who cares?
Dumbass class.
That was a delicious quesadilla every day. I'll take that. So back to bank robberies. The first one, 1831. Yeah. The City Bank of New York. Someone actually got away from the City Bank of New York. They stole $240,000. 245 to be exact.
Back in that day, that was a lot of goddamn money.
That must have been like a Federal Reserve almost.
That's badass. Shout out whoever.
The origin. I don't know if they caught them or what, but who keeps records?
Crazy that the more we talk about this, the more I advocate, Rob.
Yeah, the more you think I can get away with this.
No. I don't want to do it. I don't think it's worth the risk for me.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone wants to do it and be successful, I almost be like, yeah, good job, dude.
If they can do it nowadays, that'd be impressive.
Right, with cameras the way they are.
Yeah. I'm not advocating it at all. We can talk about the history.
No, I'm not advocating it. Yeah. I'm sorry, history. Let's get into the history. Back in the day, before we get to current day things going on.
So there's like the
Billy the Kid.
I actually don't have Billy the Kid.
Wow, that's weird because I thought he was like the number 1 bank robber, right? Looked him up. I read a really good story on him. So as a 13-year-old who got big into reading, I would read books. I loved reading.
I thought he was just a gunfighter. Did he actually steal? I guess.
Took me away to a gunland adventure. I love that stuff. I thought he was a big bank robber, chasing trains and all that. I read a really good story on him, and it was my friend's mom, who I started asking her for recommendations. He really liked Stephen King and Dean Koontz and a couple others.
Dean Koontz.
And she said, there's a book on Billy the Kid is one of the best books I've ever read. It's fiction, but it's based on reality. Just check it out. I read it in my eyes. I kept saying, this is the best book I've read. This book, I really enjoyed it. I don't know who authored it. I can't find the book anymore. It was a 300, 400-page book. and it left an impression on me. Like I still feel like the way the sunset went. I feel all this stuff.
Huh.
And I was like, Billy Kid was awesome, and he got gunned down, and it was crazy. So I looked him up today for the bank robbery thing. He didn't rob one bank or one train.
That's what the ding was for.
Oh, it was a correction.
It was I was
like, damn. So back then, I thought he was a bank robber. I probably read this story and realized he's like the most just misunderstood, crazed kid who just wanted to do his own thing. And once he started running from the law, he could never stop.
I thought he was just he was a good gunslinger. And that was his thing.
But I think he did something when he was 17 that got him illegal, and he just started running and was good at running and good at shooting and good at being friendly with people. And he had this personality, and then all of a sudden newspapers were printing, and all of a sudden now he's running further, and police are chasing him, and now he has no choice but to shoot back and do this.
Yep.
And it was like a little bit of a romantic story. I don't know.
So that I'm going to say that there's two different time frames here. Jesse James came earlier than the three I'm going to mention after him. Bonnie and Clyde, John Dillinger, and then George Babyface Nelson.
Babyface.
These, the later ones are all Depression era, so they get stuck in a situation that they need to fight themselves out of, and they start robbing banks to feed themselves because they came from poverty. Yeah, and a lot of the successful ones were ones that formed a gang, so they had multiple people helping them rob banks and take the money and trying to find things to do with it, I guess. But then they also get turned on, and they get ambushed, and that's generally how they die. They lose a couple members of the gang, and then people start turning on them, and then
everyone knows where you're going to be at X point next.
Yeah, they end up getting ambushed. I think half of them got shot in the back by somebody just because they trusted them or didn't expect it. So that's a summary of all of those: Jesse James, Bonnie and Clyde, John Dillinger, and George Babyface Nelson.
Good summary. I mean, we could also mention that technology wasn't the same, so there was no cell phones, no wireless alarm system. There was no.
The FBI was in its formative years.
What are you going with the FBI here? What are you saying?
So FBI was formed in 1908 after the assassination of a president. But part of that was also because there was interstate stealing, larceny, burglary, theft. All of that was happening.
I know those things.
Yeah.
I feel like they happen here on this. I like it.
And when these people would steal from a bank, they'd try not to kill somebody, but they usually did end up hurting somebody. And then when their gang members got caught, they would attack the jail. So they would break them free.
And that's why the jailbreaks were very popular at the time. I did read that. Interesting.
Yep. So the government at the time said that we can't allow people to just break people out of prison. That's ridiculous. So they've
that's illegal. That's downright
somebody
illegal.
Arrest them, and they're like, "Well, he just crossed state lines. I'm not allowed.
We're gonna let him go.
It's not my jurisdiction. I'm sorry. I'll give you my jurisdiction." So they formed the FBI to track down interstate. They call it commerce, but it's illegal activity over state bounds. Oh,
shit!
You got a broken watch?
No, it's right now, but it'll be right in 12 hours.
No, that cheesy joke. So of the statistics that you have on bank robberies, you didn't cover the clearance rate. How many of those that actually succeed in stealing from a bank get caught?
Ooh, please fill me in. I actually didn't 100% know, and that was what clearance was. Okay.
Yeah, so 60% clearance rate, which is actually fairly high for a crime. So 40% of the people get away with it without ever getting caught. I mean, in the time frame that we've seen the crime happen and up till now, which means they're still hunting for them, but probably not going to find them. Dust for prints, a little DNA. Who knows? $80.
Find DNA in it.
Yeah. So it is pretty risky, especially with all the cameras. I'll say that. Ba-ding!
Did we go live? So I came across a thing moving forward in bank robberies. Clay Toomey?
No.
This is in 2012.
Recent.
Yeah, pretty recent, because he also did a Reddit AMA, Ask Me Anything. He was a small-time bank robber.
How many times did he do it? Did he say?
He claimed countless. He lost count.
That's bullshit. He's full of crap.
So there were at least 4 accurate depictions of him doing it and getting away with it. Corroborated. Could be up to 6, could be 8, could be 10, could be more, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
No one's 100% sure.
There was a guy on a criminal show that did it 3 or 4 times, and he turned himself in after the 4th time because he was stealing from banks that were like a block away. They were in his neighborhood. He just got a thrill out of it.
Maybe it's the same guy.
It could be. Did he use an MO where he just slipped it on a piece of paper and said, "Give me some cash right now"?
Yeah.
Maybe it's the same guy. Because they just gave him the cash and then he'd grab it and run. Well, not run. He'd slowly make his way out of the bank, and hopefully that they didn't hit the door locks.
The doors and all that.
Yeah, probably the same guy then.
This must be the same guy. All right. So he has. Let's say then it's 4 super corroborated ones. He claims it was countless. Probably not.
Yeah.
He said he learned everything he did from just reading the internet and people who got caught and stuff. He said his number one trick was to go solo. Anytime you tell he had a wife, he never told her once that he was going to, that he was thinking about it, nothing. He never told his friends. He never had another driver that could screw up.
He did it for fun. He enjoyed it.
He didn't say fun in this, but maybe that's what it's for. He looked at tape of guys who screwed up. He read stories of guys who made mistakes.
He's actually fairly educated about it. He knew what was going on and what to manipulate.
He said he would go 5 to 6 months before he was going to do it and just scope the place out, look what's going on, and that was the only time he would go in.
He'd get to know the tellers and kind of understand what they... Yeah.
So he said tellers on average have no more than $5,000 to $7,000 disposable at their the till, whatever it's called, the thing in front of them.
Yeah.
Because the banks figure that's their magic number. If they have more than that, they're losing too much money. But if they have less than that, there's a chance that someone robbing them could open fire, and they would lose more money because who wants to go to a bank and get shot and killed? No. They worry about the bloodshed. They're like, no one will want to go to my bank if many people are mauled and killed and shot.
Yeah.
So it's bad for business. So it's all numbers.
Yeah. And if you were to go to a bank and try to withdraw that amount of money, they would say, come back later, pre-plan it, tell us you're going to come in. They'd make a meeting so that they pulled money from a different location. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense because I guess otherwise I wouldn't have it.
Yeah.
His other rule was he had no weapons and no actual threat.
Yep.
The note never said, hey, give me the money or I'll fucking kill you.
Can I have the money, please?
Right.
Would it be possible if you could?
So here's a funny story he told. I don't know if this happened in the podcast. This is in the AMA. He said the funniest thing he ever did was he asked for the money in the till, whatever it was. And it was a woman. She said, okay, I'll give you everything. And she gave him all this money, and he said he swear he could see money still, right?
In the till.
Said, yes. And he said, that's not all of it. Give me everything else. And she looked him in the eyes and said, sorry, that's all I have, honey. Sorry.
Oh, she's being ballsy.
Right. And he said, that is ballsy. So he just took the money. He's only got 30 seconds. He's got to get out of here.
Yeah.
He's going to go to his car, which he did not park in the parking lot, though every bank he robbed had a parking lot. So it was room to get away. It wasn't on an island itself. So he would walk through the parking lot and go to his car. Anyway, they eventually asked him about all his robberies, everything else. They had video footage of this one. They said, we recovered, $4,900 from this robbery. And he said, no, it should be $5,000. The number, $5,000. And they said, no, we have $4,900. And he said, no, it should be $5,000. And they were like, check the tape. The woman
with the till
kept saying, no, honey, that's all I got. She was found to have stolen a $100 bill and keep for herself, and she was fired by a robber. A bank robber got her fired. And I was like, oh, damn. That's cold, man. He was like, she did something. I'm telling you. Well, she stole it, and she got fired. So shout out.
Man, yeah, I don't even want to mess with that kind of sneaky. That's messed
Yeah,
up.
I wouldn't do that. Although we were doing a little bit of that with the ATM thing. Like when all the smoke clears, let's say there's like a couple hundos flying around because he threw them. There was a fight, he hit an old lady,
Yeah,
and falls on the ground.
Fingerprints all over it.
I don't know.
Easy money.
I think about it. I don't know.
Did you hear about what was his name? John Dillinger. He actually
Jake Gyllenhaal. He was the actor in Brokeback Mountain.
Don Dillinger. He actually went to a plastic surgeon who fixed his face, and then afterwards he wanted to remove his fingerprints. So they use this stuff called caustic soda, which is actually sodium hydroxide, to burn off his fingerprints. So that was one of the methods he used to avoid capture.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Did it work?
It does remove your fingerprints. I will say that.
You've done it? Is that what you always
Yeah. So many banks robbed.
What a crazy, wild thing.
Yeah, caustic soda.
All right, so here's a question for
you. What's that question, Nick? He's got it on his sheet. He's got a nice paintball.
No, that's mine.
This is your.
Someone bought this for my kid at
Mortal Kombat.
And I was like, we don't need to buy him this. So if you go into a bank with this, is this illegal?
I don't think it is. It's just weird.
It's not correct. So if I go into a bank with this, is that illegal?
A Nerf gun.
That's correct. Is it illegal?
I don't think so. It's brightly colored.
Orange tips, brightly colored. So hold on. If you rob a bank with a fake gun, a Nerf gun, is it more illegal or less illegal than robbing it with a real gun?
I think the intent makes it the same, right?
Close. It's not the intent. If this fake gun or fake weapon, a baseball bat that has fake nails in it, then maybe it's a rubber bat with rubber nails. If it strikes reasonable fear into the other people involved, you will be tried as if it was a real weapon. If it has orange tips, reasonable fear is the quote.
Reasonable fear. Okay.
So if I reasonably fear, because I'm not staring at it, I can't tell 100% if that's real or not. I'm not a specialist in fake guns. Orange tips usually kind of throw you off, the little orange trigger. It looks like a toy. This is a toy. Something that had black handle, black tip, black everything else. I don't know.
That incites a little more fear, yeah.
That's why people make toys the way they do. Other thing to note is no matter what item you have, let's say it's this, even with the orange tips and everything, if I hit you with it during a robbery, that's considered deadly force. Even if it doesn't look reasonably fearful. Another crazy thing, let's say I had a dildo in my hand. A big old 9-inch dildo.
Average size.
You look at that and I threaten you, hey, give me all the money or else. Like, it's not reasonable fear. Not reasonable fear. If I hit you with it, it becomes a deadly weapon.
So don't hit anybody.
That's why hold on. That's why you hear all the crazy stories every year where a woman assaults man with Chinese food or something, like, you know what I mean? And threatens his life. Where if it becomes a death threat and you hit someone with something, it becomes a like a big deal. A super.
So don't hit them with anything. Like, man was threatened with ramen noodles. Death imminent.
You read the story in the news all the time, and you're like, what? How did someone get threatened with ramen noodles?
Did you hear about the various robberies we're going to talk about here? All the ones that actually succeeded and failed.
Individual robberies.
More recent ones, yeah. I talked about the casino robbery.
The Crusades. Yeah, that was like the 1600s. Right?
Sorry, I garbled that one.
Sorry, my hearing is going. No,
casino robbery.
Oh, casino.
Yeah, the one with the girlfriend who got caught with $1,000 somewhere far off, and the guy made away with $2 million. Brian Wells. You mentioned this guy, the pizza delivery guy.
Oh my God!
He delivered a pizza to some remote location, and then was forced to put on a collar which was explosive, and was told to rob a bank or it would detonate.
Yep.
Sad story. Yeah. I don't think he made off with very much money. It was less than $1,000, and they had it on live TV. He was sitting in front of a bunch of cop cars, pleading with his life, and then the collar exploded. There was a Netflix special about it.
Evil geniuses, or evil genius.
Yeah, I don't know if it was so much genius, but
it kind of was at first when you think about it, because they say a woman was involved. I know this is terrible. This is a pro-feminist podcast, but they're saying Marjorie Deal Armstrong, who was incarcerated for the thing, was I think she had a boyfriend and another boyfriend at the time, and she kind of convinced them to use their plans and used them. So she used someone to rob a bank.
They said that there was a 3-person team, and he was involved in the team, even though he got killed. The crazy thing was that the woman was nuts. She had like a body in her basement freezer that was put there by her boyfriend, who thought he was super intelligent, but never mentioned that he had placed the body in there. And then they tried to blame each other. It was so bizarre.
It was just a whole crazy story.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking, and it was like they were right around the corner too. Like, you commit a crime, you think you're not going to do it like next door. The place the pizza guy was directed to go to was behind their house.
So there's two ways to look at this. If you're going to commit a crime, a really heinous crime that you want to get away with and you don't want to come back on you, there's one hand that says do it as far away as possible. Like, go to Wyoming, just drive there for a day and a half.
Yeah.
Do your crime and drive back and say you were away for the weekend.
Which is what I would do if I were to commit a serious crime.
But hold on. Think of this. Like, you don't know that area. There's so much you don't know about the location you're robbing. Like, there's way more stuff that can go wrong in an area where you're not familiar with everything. Traffic patterns. The way cops respond. Who is a cop? Who isn't a cop? If you did something closer to home, you'd know everyone. You know who's a cop.
You'd be a dumbass.
You know who's a drunk. You can mess with the drunk. You can, the shortcuts. Hey, what if they shut down Main Street for 1 hour and it happened to be while you were robbing the damn place in Wyoming, and you were like, damn, I don't know any other street. Google, you better work.
I think the people that are set to rob a bank are not quite there mentally, so they're more inclined to do it as a sort of impulse.
I actually think they're more desperate, I guess.
I guess they don't have the financial backing to travel and come back from wherever they go from.
Well, we came across this in heist movies. There's something not bad about robbing a bank. A bank is always the bad guy.
It's a corporate entity, yeah. There's no physical entity that's behind the bank.
No, you never want tellers to get shot or anything like that, but if you're just robbing a bank, have you ever heard anyone be like, that's terrible, they robbed Citizens Bank? And someone's like, oh my God.
Oh, Citizens. Oh, not Citizens.
How many dollars did they lose? And it's like, $4,000. And someone's like, oh my God, I hope they recover. I really hope so. Like, do you know what I mean? There's something about those poor citizens. There's just something about banks that's bad anyway.
Yeah.
So if you rob from them,
institution. We don't like institutions here.
Exactly. No, we don't, unless the Pander is sponsored by Citizens Bank. If you deposit your money, deposit at Citizens.
Oh, it's interesting you say deposit. There was one guy that actually stole from a bank and decided that he was going to protect his money by depositing the money back into the bank that he just robbed.
Same bank?
Yeah. They caught him.
Yeah. I'd like these bills that are covered in ink to go back.
Yeah.
God damn, dude.
You got to be super dumb. Or there's, the painting, The Scream, which we talked about in one episode. There's actually 4 versions of The Scream. There are 4 paintings. They're all the same, all done by the same person. But one of the versions was stolen, I think it was 1994.
The museum that left the frame standing?
it was in like a transitional phase during like an event or something, and it was vulnerable, so someone stole it. I don't understand how you decide to steal something that you'd have to sell to somebody else. That is...
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. There's something weird about a famous painting.
Yeah.
So you steal it, it's net worth, what, $900 million, let's say.
Sure, why not?
I'm making that number up.
Yeah.
So you steal it. I got it in my house now. It's in my garage. A, I hope no one knows about it. And B, I got to ask around who wants the painting and hope it ain't a cop. Like, what?
Yeah.
You got to know a guy, right? Beforehand.
You got to be sly about it. Yeah, you have to have that trade preset.
Wait, but
what if you get double crossed? Yeah.
Right. Who's the guy now? Like, does he know? He doesn't know all the people want to buy it, right? So he has to somehow broadcast that he has it and it's for sale now?
And that it's obviously stolen is the thing.
Well, but I mean, if a rich person's going to buy it, they have to know it's stolen because it was in the news.
Exactly. Stolen. Yeah. Because you can't have a painting and then not display it. Like, what's the point?
Yeah, right. So they're going to put the scream in their living room, or are they going to hide it somewhere? Like, what are you going to hide it for?
I don't know.
Especially because you're going to have to pay. So it was $900 million. Now it's down to, let's cut it in half. What's half? $450?
Yeah, $450.
$450. Now that's half because it was. I can't display it publicly. Like. You can't have someone come over like no screams over at Jimmy's house. The rich guy, Jimmy, yeah, he bought it, and like you have to hide it somewhere in your house. So now it's worth less than half of half. So what's $450 in half? $275.
Sure.
It's not. It's like $250. No. $225. Yeah.
And $225.
Thank you. So now it's $225 million, right? Now he's like, listen, I don't know if you're legit or I'm legit. There's a cop involved. I don't want to get caught here. I'll give you $200 million. Just let me have it. And the guy's like, I don't know. It's worth $900. And he's like, I'll give you 24 hours. And he doesn't get back to you in 24 hours. Now it drops to like 100. I don't know. I'm just saying, what's going on in the black market?
There's no way that, I mean, once you get it, you're just gonna be like, "This is a pretty good painting." But
because what are you gonna do with it?
Yeah, I don't know. I really don't understand it.
Don't steal paintings, folks.
Yeah, that's a bad idea.
What about diamonds? Could you steal diamonds? Diamonds are cool, right?
That painting was stolen twice. It was the Scream by Edvard Munch. That was the artist.
It was stolen twice.
Twice. It was like a decade later, almost on the anniversary. It's like crazy. So we got a few more. I see there's one guy that actually would set up these caches. So he would steal from a bank and put it in a location and hide it until he felt it was safe to pick it up. Turns out teenagers found his cache. And
they're going to smoke weed and crap.
Yeah, and all his fingerprints were all over it. So that's probably not a good idea. Mm-hmm. I've heard about, like, you go to the bank manager's house the night before and you kidnap the bank manager and then break in. I think that was just a movie plot. I don't think that's actually happened.
That's not a bad idea.
I think that just multiplies the crimes that you've just committed. So if you do get caught,
it does.
That's not a good idea.
It does.
There was the stopwatch bandit. He would be in the bank for 2 minutes or less. So they actually had a stopwatch. He had a stopwatch on his chest that would tell him when to leave. How much money can you actually get in 2 minutes is the question.
According to Clay Toomey, between $5,000 and $7,000.
Is that? I mean, how many times do you have to do that? With a clearance rate of 60%, the odds are if you do it twice, you're probably going to get caught. If you do it once, you're probably going to get caught.
He did it 4 times, didn't get caught.
I think he felt guilty by the last time he did it and then decided to turn himself in, right?
I think it had nothing to do with feeling guilty. I think there was evidence out there that he realized would probably get him.
He's
caught.
like,
I feel guilty. I'm coming in. Really, they were like, he drives a white Nissan. Here's a license plate. We're looking for him. He's like, I just feel a bit guilty. I'm going to turn myself in, folks.
So if you're going to steal like all of what the bank has, what would you do? Well, like in your research, what did you find worked the best?
For stealing?
Yes. Actually getting away with the money without getting caught.
I guess what Clay Toomey said. I mean, I'm have to No. Yeah, because you don't have the time to ask them to open up all the other money and go in the back and get the stuff. Go ahead.
I like the
What do
tunnel
you got?
method, where you dig underneath
That's a
the
good
safe.
idea.
Yeah.
That's a good.
You come at the
Because
bottom and then you
you can
take all
take
your
your
time on
damn
the
time.
weekend. Yeah.
Take your damn time.
People
Yeah.
were known to like go through all the valuables and like shit in like silver bowls and stuff. Just be
Can you
like,
imagine? Yeah. Do you
making
imagine
fun
if
of them.
guys were like, I don't do weekends, and he was like, what are you talking about? And he's like, I don't work on weekends. We're like, we're gonna break it on Saturday, and he's like, I do something with my kid. You want to start on Monday, like 9? And he's like,
Not
I don't
even.
got to ride to work. He was like, I don't got to ride to work. Can we do Tuesday? And they're like, we're gonna do it, dude. We need you. And he's like, I don't know. She's starting a new job. I gotta bring my kid to school. I'll steal 900 million the next day. It's
I got daycare. Can we do this when he's in daycare?
Yeah,
I couldn't get. I can't get babysitter.
Come on, I couldn't get someone. Can you imagine that though? That's probably happened.
That has happened. It happened in Brazil. I think the recent one was around 2005 ish, where they actually stole
Banco Central Berg.
Yep, that's the one.
70 million. I'm just guessing here.
Yes.
It was a tunnel that was 256 feet long.
Yeah.
What did you say?
I would say it's exactly that. Actually, that's the one. That's the story I have.
Oh my goddamn research.
Yeah, a lot of these people they like buy a business that's nearby a bank and then dig a hole or dig upwards or dig through the wall, and they hope that the bank doesn't notice and that they never realize that the hole connects to whatever their business is. It seems kind of ridiculous until you get away with it.
Until your name's on the business you bought, though.
Yeah, if people are smart enough to make a front of a front of a front, and then you never get caught. Oh, I didn't give that secret away. Sorry.
Good idea. Good idea. Damn good idea.
Yeah. I would. Yeah, the tunnel method. Plus, you get to take your time. Who wants to feel rushed?
That is the nice part of it.
Yeah,
I agree.
I mean, 2 minutes of joy isn't really worth it most of the time.
That's what most kids say.
Yeah. What about most creative? One that was just like smart. You didn't come across there was an armored car. Somebody dressed up as a cop and had like a smoke grenade. So when they were stopped, he threw the smoke grenade under the car, and then the cop pulled up and said, "Oh, your car's on fire. The armored car's on fire. You gotta get out. You gotta get out." And then as soon as they saw the smoke, they jumped out, and then he jumped in the armored car and drove away.
That's pretty good.
That's a pretty good one. Yeah. I'll give it to him. That's pretty intelligent. And he didn't get caught. Credit. He never got caught, that guy.
Shout out that guy. But, like, are you a person who does that once and that's it? Like, he just decided at 48 he was going to do it. He did it, and then he never did anything weird again. And now he has, like, $138,000 sitting around somewhere.
Yeah. Well, you're stuck with a whole pile of cash. If you're smart enough and you actually know, that's one thing. It has to be an inside job. You need to know how much is on that car. You're not going to do it when they're like, "Oh, we just dropped off the money." You don't get anything. It's like, well, what do I do with this worthless car now? So he must have known somebody who tipped him off that they're moving a lot of money. That was I think that was in China. There was a lot of yen. A lot of yen.
Shit ton of yen, folks.
Yeah, 300 million yen. How about stupidest? Did you get most stupid?
No, but I figured that's every weekend there's TV shows dedicated to this.
Yeah.
Guys who break in and climb through the crawl ceiling and then drop anyway.
Well, guys that didn't even have a plan. They were like, go in. I don't even think they have a mask on. They start arguing in the middle of it. They get hostages. They get stuck in the debate. And then they're just like, there's no way to get out of this thing. They end up getting busted. That's dumb. If you're able to get away with it, the other... What? Oh, pardon?
That's genius.
That if they're able to get away with it anyway, even though they're idiots?
Yeah.
Like the people that... I don't know how much they stole. It was enough to be able to fit a wad of cash in their mouths and then take a selfie with the wad of cash.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Busted.
So they put that on Facebook. There was a man and a woman showing off that they stole that much money. What a dumbass is. What dumbass is.
Dumbasses. What a dumbasses. God damn it.
Yeah. Wow.
I'm trying to help these people, but they don't want help.
I don't know how you do it. I don't know how you help them.
Oh, I was feeling pain for all those people.
Yeah, and yourself probably. Just a touch.
And myself.
That's all I got, though.
Very tight. Very tight.
So if you actually steal millions, don't post it on Facebook. Twitter.
And if you do,
nobody might see it. Depends how many friends you got.
depends how many followers you got.
Yeah.
Got a protected account? Go ahead. I don't know.
Yeah.
So, what we come down with is that don't do crime. Okay?
Unless you're related to some political figure.
We're not going to get into that.
I will say this. It's very short. Saddam Hussein had a son. So when
yes, he did. He spent $920 million.
Yeah. Saddam said, like, my son's allowed to take out $1 billion from this bank. And he showed up and they gave it to him. So what the hell is that?
The Central Bank of Iraq back in 2003 in Baghdad. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
I thought that was the craziest thing ever. $920 million stolen.
For a relative. Yeah. Quote unquote stolen.
What did he spend it on?
I don't know. He was carrying around that like wad of cash while he was like hiding in foxholes and stuff.
How cool would it be if you hang out for him?
Come on, ladies! I made some extra space in my foxhole.
I don't know what that means.
I dug an extra pit just for you.
Well, folks,
it's that time again. Time of the night where we say goodbye.
Oh, I thought we were going to say The Dark Knight is the best heist movie ever.
Oh, the beginning of that with the bus and the...
Yeah, isn't that interesting?
That's a good one.
I just read an article that said you learn more about the Joker in that 5-minute, 10-minute sequence than you do in the rest of the movie.
Yeah, you do.
You do. And you learn more about the whole... That's the most interesting part of the movie, actually.
I like when they set it up that way in order to show a character's true...
What's the director's name? Christopher Nolan?
Yes, I think so.
Anyway, I read a whole thing on that. It's different ratio aspect than like other movies at the time. He did IMAX, so it's a different film medium. It's meant to be viewed in an IMAX. I just read a whole article on that whole first 10 minutes, and it's crazy because I always forget it and don't get to see that 10 minutes, but that's kind of the best 10 minutes. And it's a heist movie in and of itself. Mm-hmm. That's a whole movie in and of itself. Where he betrays one guy, betrays the other guy, tells the other guy to betray the other guy.
Stand right there.
Betrays the guy. Yeah. That's badass.
Yeah. You could see how he's planning things out. He's plotting to take down everybody.
After the fact a little bit. Yeah. So shout out, what's the guy who played the Joker? He's good. Heath Ledger. If you want to come on the podcast, I'd let him come on. He's good. No. Before you think it's just a celebrity grab, Heath Ledger, come on the Unpanders.
Ouch.
Oh my God, I just read the comments. Heath Ledger, rest in peace.
Yeah.
Well, folks.
Way to end it.
We like everyone, like you guys.
That was a good performance, though. That was fantastic.
It was his best performance. I mean,
yeah.
Some people say it drove him insane. I don't believe that, but I don't not believe that.
I don't know what to think.
Isn't that weird?
What?
Do you think in 10 years it'll go down in history as like one of the craziest things?
It's going to be on
do you think it'll be forgotten?
Top 10 lists on the internet somewhere.
Are there top 10 lists on the internet?
For actors who died when they were filming a movie about something that was maniacal.
Batman. Oh my gosh.
Or The Crow.
Oh, you're
right.
Yeah. Well, folks, we like me. Like me a lot.
Like me a little more. Just try. Get to know me.
See y'all later. Love you.
Good night.